Chuka and Nneka were the kind of couple people used to admire, on the outside, at least. He was tall, charming, and sharp with words. She was quiet, respectful, and always had that peaceful glow around her, the kind only humility and love could produce. They got married when Chuka was still hustling, no car, no steady income, just big dreams and borrowed shirts. And Nneka? She stood by him like a rock. This woman carried his burden like it was her own. When he was broke and struggling to pay rent, she borrowed money from her cooperative. When his family mocked him for not having a job, she defended him. When his business failed the first time, she didn't complain. She went into the market and started frying akra just so they wouldn't starve. But Chuka? The moment small money touched his hand, his eyes began to shift. One contract here, one car there, and suddenly, Nneka was not classy enough. He started noticing her rough hands. Never mind that those hands once washed his clothes and cooked his meals when he was sick. He would come home, drop his phone on the table, and scroll endlessly through photos of slay queens on Instagram. When Nneka served him food, he would look at it and say, "So this is the only thing you know how to cook. Can't you try something exotic for once?" The same agusi soup he used to lick plate when he was broke. Oh, even worse, he started locking his phone, changing passwords, and coming home late. The love she once knew turned into insults, silent treatments, and constant comparison with other women. One night, Nneka found a receipt for a gold chain she didn't know about. Another time, she saw a lipstick stain on his singlet and quietly asked him about it. He hissed and shouted, "You're always nagging. That's why I can't breathe in this house." The final blow came when Chuka told her to go and visit her family for a while. Nneka, sensing something was off, asked why. He replied coldly, "Because I need space. This marriage is draining me. And to be honest, you no longer inspire me." Inspire Ko? The same woman that inspired you to rise from zero to something? Before she could even gather her thoughts, Chuka had packed her bags and called a taxi. In front of his gateman and nosy neighbors, he kicked out the same woman who once sold her gold chain to pay for his job interview. And just like that, Nneka found herself outside, with a nylon bag, a broken heart, and a lesson. Sometimes, the man you build up will be the same one who uses that height to look down on you. Barely 2 months after throwing Nneka out like expired Gary, Chuka shocked everyone with wedding photos. Yes, wedding, oh, not just relationship. He had married Sandra, a woman who looked like she was plucked straight from a music video. Light-skinned, curvy, always with 20-inch Brazilian hair, long lashes, acrylic nails, and a ring light following her like holy ghost. Sandra wasn't the type to enter kitchen. Her idea of cooking was ordering from Instagram vendors and pouring it into pot when her friends were around. But to Chuka, this was the real deal. The upgrade. The so-called soft life he believed he deserved now that he had money. He introduced her to everyone with pride. "Meet my queen," he would say, chest out like a peacock. Even his friends started calling her Madam Vibes. At first, everything looked rosy. Sandra would post couple goals videos online, those fake baby feed me moments, staged smiles at expensive restaurants, matching pajamas on Instagram stories. But inside the house? Nawala full am. Chuka started noticing little things. The house was always in a mess. Dirty plates piled up like they were on strike. Clothes were scattered everywhere. And Sandra? She was always in one corner of the house recording TikToks. One day, Chuka came home from work hungry and tired. He opened the pot empty. "Sandra, didn't you cook today?" She laughed and said, "Babe, I've been so busy. I had to shoot a get ready with me video, then I did a skincare review, and after that I went to do my nails. A beg order food nah, No stress. Chuka nearly choked on his saliva. He thought he didn't hear well. Order food? In his own house? After all the nonsense outside? Soon, his house began to look like a boutique. Wigs on the dining table. Makeup brushes inside the fridge. Shoes on the TV stand. One day, he even found eyelash glue on his toothbrush. Peace left his home and relocated to Nneka's new one-bedroom apartment. Sandra didn't know how to manage money either. Every time alert entered, it disappeared like magic. She was always ordering clothes, booking spa appointments, or buying urgent hair from online vendors. The worst part? She didn't even know the price of a bag of rice. When he tried to talk to her about managing things better, she hissed and said, "I beg, don't come and stress my mental health. I'm not your maid. If you want a servant, go and hire one." At that point, Chuka started sweating, not from heat, but from regret. The same Nneka he mocked for not being classy never let the house go dry. She would cook 3 meals in a day, clean, support him, and still find time to pray for his breakthrough. Now, this new Madam Vibes could barely boil water without burning it. The worst part? Sandra didn't even like his friends. She once told his best friend to get out from the parlor because he was interrupting her video shoot. Even Chuka's mother started complaining. "My son, are you sure this is a wife or just a house guest with entitlement?" But Chuka had already gone too far. He couldn't go back to Nneka. Pride wouldn't let him, and shame was now his daily bread. What he thought was an upgrade was quickly becoming a full-time punishment. He didn't marry a helper, he married a hurricane in heels. It started like a joke. Chuka's phone buzzed with alerts from his bank, but instead of the usual deposits, it was debit, debit, debit. His savings account began to shrink like tomatoes in dry season. At first, he thought it was business expenses. Maybe a supplier deducted more than agreed. Or maybe he forgot a standing order. But the truth slapped him soon enough. Sandra had been spending like there was no tomorrow. She linked his card to all her online shopping apps. She had even subscribed to multiple international makeup kits monthly. One night, he checked his account and screamed. Over 1.2 million Nigerian nairas gone in 2 weeks. On what? Eyelashes, gym tights, iced coffee, and some random thing called glow drops. Even the bank called him to ask if he had been scammed. No sir, not scam. Not legal marriage robbery. Sandra didn't see anything wrong. She rolled her eyes and said, "I told you from the beginning, I'm a soft life babe. If you wanted a budget wife, you should have married one." Meanwhile, the deals that used to come to Chuka dried up. Calls that used to rush in every morning for contracts or consultancy slowed to a crawl. One of his biggest clients even pulled out after Sandra insulted their manager at a dinner, calling the woman local and basic for wearing ankara. Imagine. The same ankara Nneka used to wear with dignity and humility, Sandra mocked like it was a disease. Then came the health scare. Chuka had a panic attack one morning. He collapsed after arguing with Sandra over her plan to go to Dubai for content creation. The doctor warned him, "If you don't reduce your stress, you won't see the end of this year in peace." At this point, Chuka was no longer the glowing, confident man people used to know. His face was drawn, eyes sunken. Even his favorite clothes hung loose on him because stress had eaten all his flesh. But karma wasn't done yet. One evening, Chuka came home early, hoping to have a calm moment and talk sense into Sandra. But what he found broke what was left of him. There she was on a video call, wearing only lingerie, giggling and blowing kisses to another man. When he confronted her, she didn't even flinch. "And so? You think you're the only fish in the river," she snapped. She even added, You're lucky I gave you small shine by marrying you. If not for me, nobody would even notice you. Chuka almost fainted. He finally understood. He had thrown away gold for glitter, and now the glitter had become sand, scratching his eyes and choking his lungs. That night, for the first time in a long while, he thought of Nneka. He remembered her soft voice waking him up for prayer, her warm meals, her gentle encouragements. He remembered the day she sold her only phone just to buy him transport fare to an interview. He remembered how she used to tell him, "My love, your time will come. And when it does, I'll still be by your side." But now, she wasn't by his side anymore. And for the first time since she left, Chuka cried like a baby. The day Sandra packed out, she didn't even warn Chuka. No note, no goodbye, just vanished. Along with the 55-inch smart TV, the gold wristwatch he bought himself for his birthday, and even his international passport. Yes, Sandra relocated with his identity. Chuka came home that day and thought he had been robbed. Technically, he had, but by the same woman he claimed was his divine reward. He sat in the empty living room, surrounded by silence and dust, reflecting on everything. His business? Crashed. His health? On the line. His image in the community? Ruined. And now his trophy wife? Gone with the wind like a Netflix villain. Meanwhile, somewhere across town, Nneka was rising like a phoenix. After Chuka threw her out, life was hard at first. She lived with a friend for a few months, started selling Zobo and Chin Chin to survive. But guess what? She didn't complain. Instead, she began learning digital skills, Excel, Canva, social media management. One of her former classmates helped her land a remote job with a startup. It didn't pay much at first, but Nneka was diligent. From one gig to the next, she started saving, bought herself a laptop, moved into a neat self-contained apartment, and even started tutoring children online. Her peace returned. Her smile came back. And slowly but surely, glow replaced tears. One day, Nneka was invited to speak at a women empowerment seminar. Unknown to her, one of the sponsors was Chuka's former client. After hearing her story and her clarity of thought, they offered her a business proposal on the spot. Within months, Nneka launched her own small online school for teenage girls, teaching digital skills, confidence, and self-worth. Then one Sunday morning, fate did its final dance. Chuka, now looking like a shadow of himself, walked into a pharmacy to buy blood tonic. His eyes were sunken. His shirt was faded. His shoes bent like they had seen the war. As he stood in line, he heard a familiar voice. Soft, calm, polite. "Good morning. Please can I get sanitary pads, multivitamins, and 2 packs of vitamin C?" He turned and froze. It was Nneka. Her skin was glowing. Her shoulders stood tall. She was dressed in a simple but elegant dress, her confidence now louder than her voice. She saw him and smiled, not out of mockery, but a peaceful, pitying smile. "Chuka," she said gently. He stammered. "And Nneka, you look, wow." She nodded and replied, "I'm fine, thank God. I hope you're well." He swallowed hard and said the words he never imagined he'd say. "I'm not. I messed up." She didn't gloat. She didn't shout. She simply said, "We all make choices, Chuka. Some come with blessings. Others come with lessons. I hope you've learnt yours." Then she picked up her bag and walked out, head high, dignity intact, strength radiating from every step. As Chuka watched her leave, he realized the bitter truth. He didn't lose Nneka. He threw her away. And God gave her a better life. Meanwhile, he got exactly what he deserved. Not punishment, just the reflection of his own choices.